The alien council, having dismissed Earth's potential, sends their most inexperienced admiral to engage humanity. What they don't know is that this rookie will be the first to experience humanity's shockingly brutal response. Their assumption of mercy quickly turns to a chilling realization that they underestimated Earth in ways they couldn't foresee. And that was before Earth even responded. The alien council had no respect for Earth. They saw humanity as primitive, unworthy of their attention. They were convinced that the mere presence of their fleet would end any conflict before it even started. The council had grown too comfortable with their own superiority, and it showed in their arrogance. Send someone fresh, someone who can handle this, the High Commander grunted as he dismissed the rookie from his seat. He was a mere flicker of a figure against the backdrop of power. Young, eager, and inexperienced, the Admiral had no idea what was about to unfold. The alien ships glided through the void of space, elegant and imposing, their sleek hulls reflecting the cold stars. As they neared Earth's orbital path, they received an all-clear signal from the surrounding area. The communication was simple. Proceed. Nothing could have prepared them for what they were about to face. The rookie admiral, standing at the helm of his fleet's flagship, was nervous. His fingers trembled against the cool metallic surface of the console. What if they fight back? He dismissed the thought. Humans wouldn't dare. Earth had been silent for so long, surely they knew their place. Admiral, his officer's voice was cold. We are in position. The rookie took a deep breath. Proceed. Initiate first contact. The fleet moved into Earth's gravitational field, their lights blinking as they prepared to send their demands for Earth's immediate surrender. The rookie, with all the innocence of inexperience, didn't realize that the silence surrounding Earth was not one of submission, it was one of careful, calculated anticipation. Earth had been quiet for a reason. As their transmissions began to filter through Earth's atmosphere, the first signal received wasn't a friendly greeting or a plea for peace. It was a burst of static, followed by a cold message. Welcome to Earth. We were hoping you'd come. The rookie's heart raced. Why had they responded? Before he could act, the signal distorted, cutting off. The fleet was confused, caught in a rare moment of hesitation. Suddenly, the flagship's hull shuddered as something massive passed through the fleet at a speed impossible to track. No warning, no sign. Just the cold void of space splitting open before their eyes. Then it hit them. A message simple, blunt, and incomprehensible. A human voice, crackling through the ether, breaking the silence with a terrifying promise. Next time, bring more ships. The rookie's eyes widened. His hands shook on the controls. Status report. He shouted, but it was too late. Before he could react, the first wave hit. No fancy attack, no advanced weapons. Just a sudden, brutal countermeasure that left the alien fleet staggering. The human tech was crude, yet effective. Massive energy pulses hit the fleet like physical blows, overwhelming their shields. Alien vessels began to crumble, and the Admiral's nerves betrayed him. We're losing power, Admiral. An officer yelled, panic rising. But the rookie was already frozen, eyes wide with the dawning realization. This wasn't just a fight, it was a massacre in the making. And humanity wasn't going to stop. And that was before Earth even responded. The silence between the alien fleet and Earth was deafening, almost suffocating. For moments, the only sound was the low hum of their engines. As the alien ships drifted closer to Earth's orbit, their systems preparing for the encounter. The rookie admiral stared out of his command window, his hands tightly gripping the armrests of his chair. His heart was pounding. This was supposed to be easy. He was told Earth would bend under the might of their superior technology. But the Blast of static followed by the unsettling human message had rattled his confidence. And now, as he sat in the command room, he couldn't shake the creeping feeling that something was terribly wrong. "Admiral, the Earth fleet is," his communications officer began, but his words were cut off as the lights in the bridge flickered. A deep rumble vibrated through the ship, and alarms began blaring in quick succession. The Admiral's eyes widened as a system warning flashed across the screen. "Report!" he barked, his voice rising in panic. We don't know, sir." The officer stammered. "All our communications with the fleet have been scrambled. It's as if something is blocking us from sending or receiving signals. The rookies." Mind raced. What the hell? The feeling of dread deepened as the lights flickered again, and he felt his stomach churn. The silence, the stillness of space, suddenly became unbearable. For a moment, it felt as though time had stopped. And then boom! A massive shockwave rocked the ship, throwing the Admiral out of his seat. His body slammed into the cold metal floor with a painful thud. Pain shot up his spine, but there was no time to focus on that. He scrambled to his feet, his breath quickening. The comms officer was already back in his seat, hands flying across the controls. His face was pale, drenched in sweat. "We've just detected a massive object. It just ... of nowhere." The officer gasped. "Where?" The Admiral demanded. The officer's hand shook as he punched in commands. "It's directly ahead. I don't understand how it got here. It's not on any of our sensors. We should have seen it hours ago." The rookie felt his chest tighten. "What is it?" he managed to ask, though he already feared the answer. "A ship, but it's unlike anything we've ever seen." The rookie scrambled for the tactical map, his fingers brushing over the touchpad. His eyes scanned the coordinates, and then he saw it. A massive object had appeared just within the inner perimeter of their fleet. Its outline was still hazy, but it was clear that it was enormous, at least 5 times the size of the alien warship flagship. A chill crawled down his spine. "Is it hostile?" he asked, trying to steady his breathing. Before the officer could respond, another explosion rocked the fleet. The entire ship shook violently. The Admiral stumbled, clutching onto the nearest console to keep himself upright. The bridge lights flickered once more, and then darkness. The rookie could barely hear the panicked voices of the crew members as they scrambled to regain control. "Admiral, we've lost power to the forward engines." A voice shouted from across the room. "Damn it." The rookie cursed, slamming his fist against the console. He glanced over to the tactical display again. The unknown ship was now unmistakably visible, its hull a dark shadow in the vacuum of space. It was massive, more colossal than anything the rookie had imagined, and it was moving. Slowly, methodically, it moved toward them. "We're being pulled toward it," the officer shouted. "Gravitational pull is increasing. Increase shields." The Admiral ordered, his voice sharp with panic. The officer's hands were flying across the controls, but nothing was responding. The Admiral felt his stomach drop as the strange ship grew ever closer. It was like a looming presence, a predator circling its prey. Then, without warning, the enormous ship fired. The beam of energy that shot out from it was unlike anything the rookie had ever seen. It wasn't a traditional energy blast. It was a wave of concentrated force that seemed to ripple through space, distorting everything it touched. The flagship's shields flared briefly, then faltered. It felt like the very fabric of space itself was bending. The rookie felt an overwhelming pressure, like being squeezed by an invisible hand. "Sir, shields at 50%. One of the officers shouted, her voice strained with fear. The rookie had only moments to react. "Return fire. All weapons. Fire everything we have." But before the weapons could even charge, a second blast struck the ship. This time, the bridge went completely dark, the emergency lights flickering on, casting an eerie glow over the room. The comms officer was screaming something, but the Admiral couldn't hear him over the ringing in his ears. "Get the backup generators online. Now!" the rookie shouted. But it was too late. The blast had fried the primary systems engines. Shields, weapons, all of it. The massive ship was now within range, hovering just outside their fleet. The rookie watched, his heart pounding in his chest as it extended a series of robotic arms from its underside. The dark silhouette of the ship loomed over them, casting a shadow over the fleet like a grim reminder of humanity's sheer power. "Sir, we're being boarded." The communications officer's voice broke through the chaos, but his words barely registered. All the rookie could hear now was the deafening silence, the eerie calm before what was to come. Suddenly, a transmission cut. Through the static, but it was unlike any message the rookie had ever received. It was a human voice, clear and chilling. "Do not resist. You're not the first to make this mistake." Before the Admiral could process what was happening, the massive ship released several smaller vessels, sleek and quick. They darted toward the flagship with terrifying precision. The rookie watched helplessly as the alien ships, once so proud, were now utterly helpless against the wave of destruction. He felt an icy hand of realization clutch his chest. His first encounter with humanity wasn't just a loss. It was a message. They weren't here to negotiate. They were here to destroy. As the first boarding pods hit the alien flagship, the rookie Admiral knew he was doomed. This wasn't a war. It was a slaughter. A brutal, unrelenting slaughter that he was too inexperienced to stop. And worst of all, his fleet wasn't the only one to fall. There would be more, countless more, until humanity's message was heard. Across the stars, and that message was clear. They had come, and nothing would stand in their way. The rookie sat frozen, watching as his once proud fleet was torn apart. They had underestimated Earth. They had assumed it was just a primitive backwater. But they had made a fatal mistake. Earth was far from primitive. Earth was vengeful. The Admiral finally closed his eyes, knowing there was no escape now. They had lost. And in doing so, they had awakened a nightmare from which they would never recover. The rookie Admiral's mind, raised as the horrific reality of the situation settled over him like a suffocating fog. His flagship, once a symbol of the alien empire's might, now felt fragile and small against the terrifying presence of Earth's warship. He could feel the pressure building, every second a countdown to inevitable destruction. His crew was panicked, scrambling to regain control of their systems, but it was all futile. The energy field from the human ship was too powerful. No amount of alien technology could fight against this raw, brutal force. "Sir, their forces are boarding," one of the officers shouted, her voice trembling. The Admiral's eyes darted to the tactical display. There, he saw the smaller ships, sleek and fast, slicing through the vacuum of space toward the fleet. They were coming in like vultures circling their prey. He didn't even have time to process the fact that Earth's ship had released these smaller vessels. Everything happened so quickly. The boarding pods slammed into the hull of the flagship, sending a shockwave through the ship. "Get to the escape pods," the rookie ordered. But his voice lacked the authority it once had. No one moved. His crew was frozen, paralyzed by the overwhelming fear and confusion that had taken over them. The flagship had no chance. The rookie knew that now. But it didn't matter. He had failed. He had been sent to make an impression, to intimidate, but instead, his fleet was being obliterated by a human ship that looked like a relic from a bygone era. "Report," the rookie demanded, trying to regain some semblance of control. He had to act, had to find a way out. "We're losing power." The officer at the console responded, her hands shaking as she worked to reroute power. But it was no use. Another Explosion rattled the ship, knocking the rookie to the ground. The force was staggering, and his head hit the deck hard, blurring his vision. He struggled to rise, the taste of blood in his mouth. He barely heard the next transmission from the human ship, its voice cutting through the static. "You were warned. Now you will understand the consequences." It wasn't a threat. It was a statement of fact. The rookie's stomach twisted. He knew what was coming next. The human ship didn't negotiate. It didn't demand. It simply destroyed the fleets. Communication systems were down, and the rookie had no way to call for reinforcements. No one would be coming to save them. The once unstoppable alien force was now powerless. The rookie's mind went blank as the reality of their defeat set in. Suddenly, there was a flash bright, blinding, and everything around him went dark. The flagship had been hit by another energy beam from the human ship. This time, the shields didn't even flare. They collapsed instantly under the immense power of the human weapon. The rookie heard the sounds of metal tearing, of the hull buckling under pressure, but he couldn't move. It was as if his body had frozen in place, the weight of the moment too heavy to bear. When his vision cleared, the flagship was gone. The wreckage of the ship was scattered across space, floating like debris from a distant disaster. The rookie could hear nothing but the quiet hum of the emergency lights. He was alone. The bridge had been destroyed, and his crew. He didn't. No, he couldn't bring himself to look. All he could do was stare at the cold emptiness outside the shattered windows. They had underestimated Earth. They had thought this mission would be an easy victory, a mere formality. But Earth was different. It was not the weak, fragile planet the aliens had imagined. It was resilient. It was capable of violence, of destruction, in ways the aliens couldn't fathom. And worst of all, it was now a power that the rookie had no control over. "We've failed," the rookie muttered, his voice barely a whisper. The words seemed to echo through the empty bridge, each syllable a reminder of his incompetence. He stumbled toward the communication console, his hands shaking as he tried to send out a distress signal, but there was no point. The flagship was destroyed, the fleet decimated. Earth had already won. And then came the human voice again, this time clearer than before, cutting through the static like a blade. "Your fleet will not escape. You were never meant to win." The rookie's eyes widened. It wasn't just a warning. It was a declaration, a final pronouncement. He realized that the humans weren't just defeating them, they were sending a message, one that would reverberate across the galaxy. The rookie had been nothing more than a pawn in a game he didn't understand. And now he would pay the price. As the human fleet loomed large in the distance, the rookie's mind raced. There was nothing left to do. The alien empire had overestimated their power, their technology, their ability to dominate. They thought Earth was a minor threat. They were wrong. The rookie stared out into the void, his eyes fixed on the distant human warship. The sense of dread grew deeper, colder. It wasn't just that they had lost. It was that they had underestimated Earth in a way that no one had ever imagined. And now, Earth was coming for them. There was no escape. The rookie had failed his mission, failed his empire, and most of all, he had failed to see the true nature of humanity. The rookie admiral's mind was a blur of panic and disbelief. His ship, once a symbol of the Empire's might, was now reduced to a mangled wreck. His crew, scattered and broken, were no longer a cohesive force. The once proud fleet was decimated, lost to the brutality of Earth's unexpected power. He had no way to comprehend it, no understanding of what had just transpired. All he knew was that the alien fleet, in all its arrogance and technological superiority, had been obliterated by humanity, the very species they had dismissed for so long. There was no sound in space, but the silence in the Admiral's mind was deafening. He staggered through the wreckage of the flagship, trying to make sense of the chaos that surrounded him. The bridge, once the heart of his fleet, was now a gutted husk. Sparks flew from broken circuits, and the emergency lights flickered erratically. The air was thick with the acrid smell of burnt metal, and the overwhelming scent of defeat hung in the air like a weight. "Report!" The Admiral's voice was hoarse, but it carried the weight of command. He needed answers. He needed something to hold on to, but no one responded. His officers were either dead, injured, or too stunned to speak. The feeling of isolation pressed in on him, intensifying the already suffocating reality. He was alone, adrift in the wreckage of a failed mission, cut off from the rest of the Empire. There was no way back now. Earth had destroyed them without mercy, without hesitation. And worse still, they hadn't even broken a sweat. The rookie admiral moved toward the remaining communication console, his steps heavy with the weight of failure. His fingers hovered over the buttons, but he didn't know what to say. What could he say? A final desperate message to his superiors? A plea for help that would never come? His thoughts were interrupted by a sudden, chilling voice that cut through the broken static of the comm system. "Admiral, we've been waiting." The rookie's heart skipped a beat. The voice was calm, almost amused. It was human. A cold, calculating voice that sent a shiver down his spine. It wasn't an interrogation, nor a threat. It was a statement, like a simple observation of the inevitable. The rookie's hands clenched into fists as he realized that the human forces were not just in control of the situation, they were savoring it. "We are here, Admiral," the voice continued, its tone never changing. "You've seen our power. You've seen what we can do. Now it's time for you to understand." The rookie's legs gave way, and he collapsed to his knees on the floor of the wrecked bridge. His mind spun in circles, the overwhelming sense of loss and confusion clouding his thoughts. He had been sent to subdue Earth, to bring them to their knees. Instead, he was the one kneeling. Why? He managed to croak, his voice cracking. "Why didn't you just end it?" The voice on the other end seemed to hesitate for just a moment, as if considering the question. Then it spoke again, its words cutting through the chaos. "We didn't need to. You were never a threat to us. You were just in our way." The Admiral's stomach twisted. In his arrogance, he had underestimated humanity. He had assumed that the alien empire was untouchable, that their technology would always outclass anything Earth could muster. But the humans had shown him otherwise. It wasn't their technology that had destroyed them. It was their will, their resolve, their ability to think in ways the Admiral's people had never anticipated. The rookie raised his head, tears welling up in his eyes. His voice was a whisper, barely audible above the hum of the ship's failing systems. Then, what happens now? For the first time, the human voice softened, though there was still a chilling edge to it. What happens now is that you go back to your empire, and you tell them the truth. Tell them that Earth does not fear them, that they will never control us. Tell them that we don't fight for victory, we fight for survival. And that, Admiral, is something they will never understand. The rookie's chest tightened. He had failed. He had been nothing but a pawn in a game he didn't even comprehend. He had been sent to deliver a message of dominance, but instead he had become the bearer of defeat. Earth had crushed them without hesitation, without mercy. And it wasn't just a victory. It was a statement, a declaration to the entire galaxy that humanity was not to be underestimated. The rookie wiped his eyes, his mind slowly clearing as the weight of his failure settled in. The communication console was still flickering, but he had no strength left to fight. He had nothing left to prove. The mission was over. The fleet was gone. His only hope now was to survive long enough to send a final message back to the Empire, to warn them of the consequences of their arrogance. He managed to stand, the ship creaking beneath him. He could feel the gravity of Earth's message sinking in deeper with each passing second. The human forces weren't just defending their home, they were protecting something greater. Their freedom, their will to survive, and the future of their people. The rookie had been sent to conquer. Instead, he had become the conquered. As he stumbled toward the escape pod, the final transmission echoed in his mind. You were never meant to win. The escape pod's hatch sealed with a soft hiss, and the rookie looked one last time at the destruction he had witnessed. Outside the wreckage of the fleet, Earth's ships moved with cold precision, preparing to make their mark on the galaxy. The rookie's journey was over, but humanity's had just begun. And as the pod shot away from the wreckage, he couldn't help but feel the weight of their words pressing down on him. They had underestimated Earth. And now they would never forget.